How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing better than me. I don't know if I sound any different than normal, but I am very, very, very under the weather. I've been dealing with a pretty severe lung infection that I picked up in Indiana on a steel mill job. So I got back home and I've kind of just been SIQ, if you will, sick in quarters or what have you, ever since I've been back from Connecticut, or I'm sorry, um, Indiana. I can't think. I'm really out of it. So I figured I'd just do some kind of content because I hadn't done content in a while, and I saw Eli did a live stream, and I find Eli is a wonderful distraction whenever I'm not feeling hot. So figure what's up with Eli. I apologize right off the bat if the audio is all screwed up. On top of being about 80% of the way deaf. When I'm sick like this, I really can't hear anything at all, even with the hearing aids in, which is why we're busting out the closed captioning for me to be able to follow along. So it is what it is. Feel free to just log on or not watch the video if this isn't interesting. I also have him sped up a little bit. I'm actually probably going to key reset to 1.5 because I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He talks well,
All right.
herky
We
jerky.
are live on YouTube. We are live on YouTube. How's everyone doing today? How's it
He's like
going?
Oscar the Grouch coming out of the dumpster.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
Look
Man,
at that chat take
I'm
off.
getting out on my walks later and later each and every day. There's just so much going on.
You know, Eli, if you had a
I'll be
normal
taking off my
job, you
shades
could
probably in about
probably
10 minutes.
you could probably average
The
like
sun's
5 or 6 miles
well, the sun's already going
just
down.
working in an office.
But, it's going to be dark, which is what I'm trying to say. It's going to be dark before I even finish my first lap, more than likely. So it is what it
Eli's
is.
scared
Hope
of
you're
the
all having a good
dark.
one. We've got the dog training class out here now because the other
People
area
using the park.
where they were doing dog training is
How dare they?
roped off for something else or closed off for something else. So it's getting harder and harder
California, they're
to
not supposed to
do
use a
these walks at the
park.
park. But when you're pressed for time, just like this topic today, when you're overwhelmed with so much going on and you're pressed for time, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
How on earth are Eli? How are you pressed for time? You're unemployed. I mean, let's be real. You're unemployed. Like every day is a weekend for you.
Say goodbye to old costly cable TV once and for all.
God, he shoves in so
I'm
many
sorry, folks.
commercials.
I'm really, really overwhelmed. And if
How
there's
are
one
you
thing
overwhelmed?
you have or haven't noticed about me, you'll notice it now. But I'm raw and real. I talk about how I feel
He's raw and
regarding
real.
what I'm going through in real time.
He's like old
That's
dirty
why I have two
bastard,
channels.
live and uncut.
Or the GNA has two channels, but I'm the president and founder of the GNA.
GNA. Is that that
Oh, Deanne, how
hacker
you doing,
group,
bro?
the
Hope smash that
Gay
like. How you doing,
N-Words
brother? Welcome to the show. Great to see
Association
you
of
here.
America, or is that a different group? I'm going to assume it's
Before
the
we get to
same
it,
group.
if you don't already know me, if we haven't met before, my name is Elias Mellis, but you can call me Eli for short, and I am the president and founder of the Genuine Networking Association, or GNA for short.
AKA the No Girls Club.
And my mission as the president and founder of this organization, let's just say my mission as the founder, is to help you become the best version of yourself that you can be at little or no cost, is to help provide services to people that they greatly need.
I have to point out the fact that I think I've mentioned this in other videos. I'm not a very big fan of the whole life coach thing because there is no licensing. There's no any kind of degree path to be a life coach. Any idiot can be a life coach and they can claim they're a life coach. Yes, there are entities that will offer you a degree in life coaching or whatever, but those are diploma mills. It's no different than flipping over a Denny's placemat and just writing old style lettering on it and claiming that you're a life coach. And giving out advice, like I guarantee you, I've taken more ethics classes as an engineer than Eli ever has, and it's certainly he's taken a lot fewer ethic classes than a therapist would take.
Either at no cost or a very reasonable cost. What I do here is not to be profitable. Now, that doesn't mean I don't need to make money. I do. Because even when you're running, eventually the GNA is going to turn into a nonprofit, or at least partially, like I've been mentioning the last few days. But
I'm going to assume, because this is a common thing with a lot of folks on YouTube and stuff, this is the same kind of thing. That guy that I used to cover, John Henry Bolden, the crazy ex-Air Force veteran that terrorized his neighbors and his ex-wife's family and his ex-wife and his kids. One of his big things was he was a religious entity or some crap, and he was a nonprofit. And he was basically saying this as an excuse to never file or pay taxes, which really didn't make any sense why he was even bothering with this, because he didn't make enough money to ever really have to file taxes and so on. But generally speaking, you don't want to go a nonprofit status unless in certain situations, because it complicates. Excuse me, I'm washing something real quick. It complicates your paperwork so damn much that it's really not cost effective in a lot of different scenarios. And like the idea that somebody like Eli could ever gain nonprofit status, like Eli, you would almost immediately start getting audited constantly, and I don't trust that you would be able to handle keeping your books separate and everything. It would be a disaster for you, brother. Don't just don't.
you know, I don't need to be a for-profit company. I don't really even like the for-profit structure. I've always been the type of guy that just wants to help people in any way that I can. If I can help people for free and sustain at least an okay lifestyle, I would do it. Obviously, you can't. You need money to survive, right? But here to the GNA, we're not here to sell you a pipe dream. We're here to truly help you. Hey, Tia, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
GNAA or GNA really rolls off the.
So that's a bit about the GNA, and we've been in progress of making a transition here on both of my monetized channels that I run with my girlfriend Dawn. Again, Coach Elias Mellis, the main channel is now GNA, Genuine Personal Development, is the name of the channel, and this channel here, formerly known as Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams, is now GNA 2, Genuine Live Personal Development.
It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
And that's that. Now, there are a lot more aspects of the GNA, but our primary focus is self-improvement /
Oh,
personal
hey, you
development.
finally got 3 comments.
Because everyone deserves to
2
become
from
a better
the same
person, to
moderator,
learn more.
and the other one's from a bot.
And it's just ironic to me how some people devalue and discredit personal development and self-improvement and self-help type of information.
Eli, just because somebody thinks it's a bad idea to take advice from you in no way, shape, or form means that they're against self-improvement and all. So, for example, Eli, I think you're a complete shithead who in no way, shape, or form should be giving advice to people. But I also volunteer at my local homeless shelter, and I regularly donate platelets, and I volunteer with my local veterans hospital so that I can actually sit down with individuals who are trying to get into university or getting into the trades or any number of things. But I also recognize my limitations. Like, for example, I tell these guys, don't come to me if you're having mental health issues. The only thing I can do is basically call away what do you call it? A safety check or whatever. You don't necessarily want to do that. Don't come to me for financial advice, because I don't have a legal, ethical, or moral responsibility to give you sound financial advice, and I'm not comfortable in doing it, and so on. Like, I recognize the boundaries and so on. And if somebody is having a crisis, I don't try to fix it myself. And again, that doesn't mean that I'm against personal improvement in any way, shape, or form. I think you're a moron.
I will tell you. I'm going to use my girlfriend Dawn as an example again. Not you.
Really? You should. Oh, my Lord. I'm going to use my girlfriend as an example again. Okay. Eli, you really shouldn't. You shouldn't be. I had to double check to make sure I read that correctly. You should don't don't be talking about your old lady's problems. Like, why are you doing this?
Use her because I love her, not use her in the way of abusive usage. I'm gonna share an example. Is a better way to put it. Using my
Oh
girlfriend
Lord, what is
situation
this going to be about?
because we want to help people, right? And I'm going to use that in the example of the topic here, being overwhelmed. Because Don and I have been extremely overwhelmed lately. There's a lot going on.
A lot of drama,
I'm
huh?
going to share with you folks today how I handle it. Right?
I'm
It's not
sure
easy.
this is going to be fantastic.
Is it stressful? Yes. Is stress good for you? No. Can you help being overwhelmed at times? No. It happens to everyone. It happens to the best of us, right?
That is true. I agree
And
with
even though
you
stress is not
100%,
good,
Eli.
because you can't help being overwhelmed at times, you also can't help being stressed out at times. But you can minimize your stress level
And there's no
by doing what I share with you here today.
fault
And it's not easy.
in seeking help.
It's
for
not
stress.
easy. You gotta work up to this, right?
I say this as somebody who has had a nervous breakdown in the past. It's no sign of weakness to get help.
And I'll make this very clear to the people out there in a former community that are still trying to linger on and talk about, what I'm talking about here regarding my girlfriend or her family. I mean, you want to respond to that? It's all good. I don't care. If I run into your posting, I'll just look at it and then just click away and say whatever, right? Because honestly, I'm not
You're
here for the
looking
drama. I'm
these
here to truly help
postings?
people. I'm here to
It's
be
kind of
real
weird. I
and share
would
what actually
just
happens
not look for them.
in relationships. I'm here to share what really happens in the real world, because how in the world can you...
Eli, you are the least in the real world person I think I know of. Outside of like that Boogie2988 guy on social media, you live with your mother in your 50s. You're completely sheltered from the real world to the point that it is really, really stunted not only your growth, but your ability to do day-to-day tasks.
help people if you're not being real? And nowadays, because of the internet and live streaming, we can do this in real time, which is absolutely the best, because then people can engage and share with you what they're struggling with, and we can all talk about it.
My son's 10 years old, and my son has already figured out that sharing things on the internet is potentially a very, very, very bad idea. Thankfully, it's not because he overshared, but he had a friend of his overshare stuff. Like, it is an absolutely terrible, I mean, fundamentally, down to the very base level, it is a terrible idea to go onto the internet, use social media and so on, as a platform to gaining validation and to get sound advice. It's terrible. Like, it's one of the reasons why we have like teenage girls commit suicide and stuff like that from online abuse.
And one of the best ways to get through tough situations, being overwhelmed, dealing with stressful situations, is to talk about it with people, other people, because everyone goes through it. Everyone should talk about it, right? And that's what I'm doing here, right?
This is such a bad idea.
One of the main reasons I've been overwhelmed lately is because of some deep emotional things my girlfriend Dawn's going through.
Mm.
And I'm not
Alcoholism will do that. Kind of makes it very
miss
difficult to deal with regular
my woman
things,
coming
and
out
it
here
causes a lot of chaos
and
for
doing content
everyone
with me
involved.
and sharing our happiness with everyone, because Dawn and I are happy.
Eli, you're filming kids again.
We are happy. We're very happy. But there are things that she's going
Little
through
kid
and
is
people go through
photobombing.
that are so draining and emotionally taxing that it can appear like a couple like us is not happy, but we are happy. We are truly happy. If I didn't love Dawn,
The happiest couples are the ones that have to tell everyone around them that they're happy. That's totally true, isn't it?
I wouldn't be with her. I wouldn't be dealing with any of this if I didn't love her.
I will say this. I think a lot of people view this whole relationship between Dawn and Eli as being really, really one-dimensional, and like Eli is like this bastard that has basically enslaved her and taken advantage of her and so on. My perspective is that they are both equally terribly shitty people, and that this is a horribly toxic relationship, and that it's probably equally exploitive and abusive. I don't think Eli's beating the shit out of her. I don't think Dawn is beating the shit out of Eli. But I would not be surprised if that it's incredibly exploitative, where she knows what to say to basically force Eli to do what she wants. They trade jabs and so on. It's incredibly toxic. It's incredibly unhealthy. And at the end of the day, Dawn is choosing alcohol over her family, and she's choosing to stay with Eli because that's the easiest way for her to get alcohol. It's not like Eli is forcing her to drink alcohol, though.
And again, I want to share this, and we want to share this with you because we
Shouldn't
know
be sharing this.
we're not the
It's a
only
bad
ones.
idea.
Everyone goes through this, right?
Most people don't go to the level of deal with the level of alcoholism that Dawn has.
Give me a second here.
Her level of alcoholism makes my level of
There was some
alcoholism
dude
seem like a
hiding
walk in a park.
up against that tree back there. That was kind of weird. I don't know what he was doing there. Maybe he was taking a leak or something.
It's Southern California. He was either
This is also the bad
urinating in
reception area,
public
folks, so
or
forgive me
masturbating to
if
women and children walking
Reception
by.
goes a little cuckoo over here, okay?
It must be
But
so
over the
weird to
last,
see him in
couple of
public.
weeks, Dawn has been very, very drained. And again, I want to make this very clear. And we've already talked about doctors and
Alcoholism is a
everything.
full-time job, believe me. I know.
Psychologists, psychiatrists, and other
It
doctors.
is a full-time job.
We're all communicating, even
to
with
drink
myself
yourself
and
into
Don.
oblivion every night.
And we've got a great game plan. But no matter how good of a game plan you have, certain things will affect even the most normal human being. So I cannot blame Dawn for feeling the way she's feeling. I understand why she's feeling the way she's feeling. In my younger days, I've been massively depressed over shit before, especially when I didn't love myself as much as I do today. That's why self-love is so important. You folks think, see, a lot of you think this is stupid shit. A lot of you think this is stupid fucking content, right? Boring, stupid content. But the truth of the matter is, it all boils down to self-love.
He's getting real.
You got to find a way to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, any little thing's going to piss you off and hurt you and fuck you up emotionally. That's the truth of the matter. Maybe I could have used some more professional vocabulary, but fuck it. That's the way I talk. If you don't like it, so be it. Right?
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw.
But over the last several weeks,
excuse me, that was a mistake.
Ever since the time where,
look at that.
Don's mother got upset
take
about me
off.
because she thought I handled Don's seizure improperly when Don had a seizure at her parents' place. And then Don's mother got upset because I was broadcasting live from their place.
I'm assuming that Dawn is actually Dawn, so I'm just assuming that. I remember this stream. It was really, really messed up, where they were up in the middle of nowhere, it seemed like, and Eli was like on the patio or something, or the deck, live streaming, and you just hear Dawn like moaning from inside the house. And at one point, I think she said something like, "I think I'm going to die," or "I want to die," or something. And then some people watching the screen called the cops to do a wellness check on her, or something along them lines. And of course, Dawn is such a severe alcoholic that it sounds like she's having daily seizures and stuff, which again, absolutely terrifying to me, because at the level my alcoholism was, all it took was for me to have one seizure. And then I ended up in the emergency room, and I had a face-to-face conversation. Well, I was laying in the bed with a couple of catheters in me, one in my dick and one in my arm, pumping me full of anti-seizure medication and removing the urine out of me, trying to take samples of how badly dehydrated I was. And my dumb ass tried to convince my wife and my boss that I didn't have a drinking problem. And that's when they kind of did the whole, "You're going to rehab or your life is over" kind of thing. And I agreed to go to rehab. I imagine that Dawn's family has done the same exact kind of thing, where it's like it's our way or the highway, so to speak. We are not going to be participants to your life as you slowly kill yourself through drugs and alcohol, or through alcoholism. But in her situation, as opposed to my situation, I didn't have some random idiot just show up in the room and be like, "Hey man, you could still keep drinking. Stay at my house." Which actually kind of would have been then it wouldn't have been funny. But now I look back on it, it would be pretty funny to see how my wife would respond to someone like you, Eli. It's one thing, I think she's got about 5 inches of height to you, and she would probably just beat my wife would probably just beat the crap out of you in that hospital while pregnant. She probably would have like just basically kicked you right in the fucking chest, and you would have ended up in the bed next to me in the ICU. Oh my lord! Oh, she would have beat the crap out of your manlet ass.
Right? I was broadcasting live from their place, just showing the woods. I didn't show their house. I showed the woods, the trees. And then when that wellness check was made, because when Dawn was having a night terror, she said something that sounded real to somebody, and then they called the local sheriff, and the local sheriff comes out there, and then Dawn's mom is thinking that they hacked her IP because I was using their Wi-Fi, because the cell reception there isn't that great. Oh, I've got to go out to the street here because there's a older lady and her daughter there. I got a boogie. Give me a second.
It's gotta be so weird to see him get Dawn those neurological pills I told you to get her.
Dehan with the $10 super chat. This is the last day of the month too. Wow, brother. I'll get to your super chat in a second. Thank you. Thank you so much for your $10 super chat, brother.
It's gonna be so weird to see him in public.
Now we got 2 people coming with their dogs. You figure coming this late, no one's gonna be out walking, but everyone is out walking right now.
It's a sidewalk, dude, in a neighborhood.
Everyone is out walking right now. It's all good. It was like 80 degrees or so today, and it's just starting to cool down, so it's all good. ODN, thanks so much. So yeah, Dawn's mother thought that her Wi-Fi was hacked. No, ma'am, your Wi-Fi was not hacked. And the only reason, she thinks they found her place because someone hacked the Wi-Fi. No. Ma'am, the reason why they found where you live is because they know your daughter's first and last name, because your daughter is with me, and we're both YouTubers. And they did a background check and found out prior addresses where your daughter lived, which was, one was your place.
Excuse me.
That's common sense, ma'am.
Eli, whether her Wi-Fi was hacked or whether her home was doxxed because you're a fucking moron that tells everyone everything, it's still your fault. Or at the very least, it's really bad form to be live streaming her daughter having a seizure in that woman's home and then getting the cops called on that family. You know, getting the cops called on her home. Like this is one of those things where I kind of wish I could actually sit down with Eli without a camera or nothing and just be like, hey, you know, let's watch this stream together. Do you think this is a rational thing for somebody to ever say?
But you want to blame me for broadcasting live because I'm trying to make extra money to help your daughter, right?
Yeah, I could see how, yeah, exploiting your, I could see as Dawn's mother, how Dawn's mother would be kind of upset, especially with your excuses. Look, I've got to live stream and exploit her physical condition for donations, her mental and physical decline, because otherwise I have to get a job. like, come on, Eli. Come on. This is the weirdest cope.
To help your daughter that I love and will give everything to. Yeah, someone hacked Dawn's mom's Wi-Fi. And then that's how they got the address and called the wellness check. No. Ma'am, they did a background check. Today we have something called the internet. And you put in someone's first and last name and as much information as you know, their age, approximate age, and what state they're in, etc. And boom, there you go. Or they can just type my name and see that your daughter Dawn's a known associate of mine. And click on.
Because again, you put everything on the internet because you have the internet savvy of like a 9-year-old kid.
On her background, and then look at previous residents, which one of them was your house, and then you were in the mountains, so they put 2 and 2 together.
It's really your fault when you think about it.
Broadcasting live on their property, somebody hacked their Wi-Fi. I swear to God, man.
I swear to God. No.
The things I deal with, man, the things I just deal with. I'm going to have to go around because there's lots of people at the park right now.
So many people.
ODN, let me get to your super chat here.
Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today.
Get Dawn those neurological pills I told you to get her. I'll donate some more money when you get them.
Yeah, just
I'll get there,
start
bro.
feeding her
Thank you
mystery
so much,
horse
ODN.
pills.
Thank you so much for your
That'll
$10.
fix the alcoholism.
Appreciate that,
Jeez
man.
Louise.
Last day of the month. Last day of the month, folks.
That'll be Eli's new money making thing, where you donate money and you just have and if you donate
These
enough
dudes are
money,
playing
you can
volleyball
make
out here.
Dawn
Yeah.
eat any weird
You
thing.
hardly see guys play volleyball. No disrespect. I mean, guys can play volleyball, but it's more of a chick sport, right? Listen, I'm
What?
not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that guys can't do things that more so women do, because women nowadays do things that once only men would do, right? But yeah, I've never
I've
seen
never heard
guys
anyone
play
say that
volleyball like so regularly
volleyball.
as these guys
There's
have been
no
playing
such thing
out
as
here at
like
the volleyball court.
men's
Anyway,
volleyball is really
more power
popular.
to you. You're getting your exercise in, right? It's all
It
good in
used
the
to be
hood.
a men's only sport,
Right, so
like
let's get back to
basketball.
what I was saying about Dawn. Oh, first, ODN says, yeah, it is bizarre. Guys are wearing sandals and playing volleyball nowadays. I know, dude. Listen, look, I'm not saying I've never played volleyball, but I used to play volleyball with the girls in grammar school. The
So
girls love to play
sandals now
volleyball,
are
dude.
gay.
And us guys would play with them because
I
we,
swear,
back then
dude.
before we thought girls had cooties, right? Because girls mature faster than men, right? They already like this, but we're like, no, you have cooties. So we would go play volleyball with the girls in grammar school. Because, I mean, no disrespect. I mean, I'm not saying that women aren't good. Us guys would go in there and we would just like,
Every fucking time he says no disrespect, he proceeds to say something really remarkably stupid and insensitive. It's kind of amazing. You could set your watch to it. It's like when somebody's like, I don't mean to sound racist, and then they proceed to drop the N bomb 6 times in a row.
slam the balls hard and like just mess with them a little bit, right? We didn't hurt them or anything. We were just having fun, right?
Were you beating up little girls in
Is
grade
that
school?
incident what started more tension between Don's mom and you? Absolutely. Don's mom doesn't like me because she knows I'm the only one that has the balls to stand up to her bullshit.
What? Wait, what? Eli, you have an entire internet of people that like make fun of you. I think there's plenty of people that stand up to your bullshit.
That's it. That's the bottom line to you. The bottom line is my beautiful, wonderful, amazing woman is emotionally traumatized by her family, by her mother and her daughter. That's the bottom line.
Give me 1 second. Never mind. I was going to try to find a picture of Dawn, but she's a prime example of how heavy drinking over a large period of time can absolutely destroy your features. So, like, him talking about her beauty and all is just, she's one of those individuals that you just see and you're just like, okay, that's a heavy alcoholic.
Line. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I got to be real because it's happening every day. And I love Dawn. We hang out, we talk, but she sleeps a lot. And this has nothing to do with alcohol. These people think, oh, it's alcohol, this and that. No, it's
It is absolutely alcoholism. It's classic terminal stage alcoholism. The only thing that's really surprising is that she doesn't regularly have to get like bile pumped out of her stomach, or it's not her stomach, but you know what I mean, where the alcoholics start to bloat up like crazy. But she has all the symptoms, the difficulty sleeping, the inability to keep down food and water, seizures, bruising very easily, taking forever to heal from injury, and so on. She's in the terminal stage of alcoholism.
it's not the alcohol at all. Her and I have a beer every now and then. Dawn doesn't drink like she used to. I don't drink like I used to. It's not the alcohol.
That, my friends, is denial.
It is emotional trauma. Okay? It is emotional trauma that primarily stems from the way her mother treats her, the way her mother doesn't go to bat for her, against her daughter.
I will give Eli a little bit of credit in something that he said. It's where Eli's saying something somewhat right, but he doesn't realize really what he's saying, and how he's using it is actually completely incorrect. One of the things that I run into a lot when I'm trying to help veterans and stuff in their families is a lot of people imagine if you get the alcoholic sober, take away their drug of choice, whether it's a crack addict, obsessive, like somebody that's obsessively gambling, or so on. You take away their drug of choice, their life is just going to go boom, fantastic. And more often than not, what ends up happening is either A, the drug addict relapses to their drug of choice, or B, they swap over to a completely different drug or a completely different destructive behavior. And it's because you haven't dealt with the underlying trauma, and what you're trying to deal with is just the flawed coping mechanism. So that is, honestly, on paper, somewhat true. Like, if Dawn got sober tomorrow, more likely than not, Dawn would not be in any way, shape, or form happy, because There's probably some bad shit that has happened to her over the years that she has to deal with. However, what Eli is implying is that because Dawn's family has organized an intervention and they're holding fast on their rule that, hey, if you continue to drink, you will not be part of our family. We are not going to participate in your decline to death. That Eli is somehow using this as justification as to why she's drinking. That's really what he's trying to imply. He's trying to imply that because her family has done an intervention, that is why she's drinking. He probably doesn't realize that's the argument he's trying to make because, again, Eli is not the sharpest bulb in the drawer.
which is her mother's granddaughter.
I intentionally said that wrong, by the way.
You know, Dawn was telling me today, I didn't know about this till she told me. She goes, yeah, you know, my son Jeremy was in town weeks ago, and I was hoping he was going to reach out. And then I talked to my mom, and mom said, oh, he's just not ready to talk to me yet. These are grown-ass adults, not understanding what they're putting their mother through, what the trauma not only they're putting their mother through, but more so, Dawn's mother, you know, a woman in her 60s, that should know better and understand how it would feel to go through this herself, let alone do it to your own daughter, for Christ's sake. And then you shit on me for being the one that truly gives a shit about her, does everything for her. GTF.
No, Eli, the reason why the family doesn't like you is they see you as an enabler. You're preventing Dawn from having to face the consequences of her alcoholism and of her behavior. And so you're basically her get out of rehab free card. And I don't know why you want to be a doormat to this woman, but that's what you're willing to do. And again, I want to be very, very clear. I don't agree with other people on YouTube and stuff that say that Dawn is like somehow imprisoned by Eli. She is not. She gets to do what nobody else on the planet that would allow her to do, which is sit in a house all day long and drink herself to oblivion. Nobody's forcing her to do that.
FOH. Come on. We're going to keep it real here, because here's the thing. If we're going to help people with their personal development and personal improvement, we're going to keep it real with you and tell you what's going on. It's not a bad thing.
You really shouldn't be talking about any of this, Eli. You really shouldn't.
You got to tackle things head on.
If you're not making $158,000 per year,
I swear to God, he has
August
so
3rd
many
is the next
videos.
one. That's this weekend.
Oh, good. You're going to take her drinking in a public park. That's great, Eli. That'll really help Dawn get her shit together. You and Dawn are going to get drunk in public. I hope you live stream it.
Maybe I'll take Dawn to this. If not September 7th. I'd rather take Dawn to this when she's,
Can she even
you know,
walk
not
yet?
depressing over her family as much. She goes through periods of time. And I don't blame her. We all go through depression. We all go through it. But this woman has constantly gone through it. You know, certain periods every year. You know, she misses her kids every day. Don't get me wrong. But certain events that happen every year, or like her son that's been in that state for a while now, when he comes into town and he hears about it,
her birthday,
or she hears about it from her mother and stuff,
any day that she's sober
and he
enough
doesn't
to
reach out. I mean,
remember
come
those
on.
dates, I can imagine it's difficult.
What kind of a person are you to shut out your own mother? Both of these kids shut out their own mother.
Hey, Eli. You obviously have no way of knowing this. I think most people have a way of knowing this unless you've watched a number of my videos on my channel. I've dropped hints about this. I come from a very, very shattered home. Not a broken home, shattered home. I ended up aging out of foster care. It was the entire reason that I got into the military, because it was either that or homelessness. When you age out of foster care, you get a bus token, and you typically are allowed to leave with the clothes on your back. The foster family keeps everything else. I left with basically the clothes on my back and a P.K. Dick novel, A Scanner Darkly, that I had to argue with the social worker that this book was mine. I was working at the time in fast food, but basically I lost my ride. I no longer had a ride, and I was no longer in that county anymore. I basically got a bus token to go back to Baltimore City from Harford County. I lost everything. I had maybe $300 to my name. I am routinely asked by various people why I choose not to try to reconnect with my birth parents. It will never happen. It will never happen. And I get really annoyed when idiots like yourself try to give me advice on this. It's one of the only issues that me and my wife have ever gotten defensive about, because my wife comes from an incredibly loving, incredibly functional family back out of Poland. When I first met them, it was amazing to me because they took me in like a son. I was blown away. I absolutely blown away that they were cool with this really tall, scarred up American who couldn't hear, or who was completely deaf at the time, and I couldn't lip read Polish at all. Nope, they didn't skip a beat. They've always treated me like family. And my wife was completely unnerved when she found out that not only are both my biological parents alive, 3 of my 4 siblings are alive. She's met one of my siblings. She's never met any of the other ones. And she is always trying to get me to reconnect with my family. She always says the same thing. She's probably going to say, you're probably going to make the same stupid argument. Well, one day when your parents are dead, you're going to regret this. The answer is no. No. It's just not going to happen, because the real world is not like the fucking movies.
Their own mother wouldn't hurt a fly. She's not a bad person. Has she been through stuff? Of course she has. These kids don't even realize what she's been through. And let me tell you this. All of you don't know certain things that she's been through that would really crack this shit wide open. I'll tell you that. But I'm not going to go there.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, you will. You can't keep your mouth shut about anything. You are terminally talking about shit you shouldn't talk about. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Eli was dumb enough to live stream out his PIN number. He's that stupid. You don't shut up about anything.
And that's why I think Don's mother's triggered, because listen, when you love someone, they tell you everything. You tell them everything. Don and I have no secrets.
That's
and
what
let me
you
tell
think.
you this. For this woman to be dealing with all this trauma, especially something that we haven't even gone public on and never will, trust me, if we ever went public on this, which we won't, you folks would understand. You'd be impressed. Wow, how is she holding up after all that? Yeah.
He's so
I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her.
Eli, whatever that story is that you're going to make up, I'm sure it's going to sound epic in your head. For the love of God, don't put that out there. Just don't put that out there. I'm kind of amazed that no one in Dawn's family hasn't hit you with a car. I'll tell you this right now. You can tell this is California. This ain't Appalachia. Because if there was somebody like Eli in my neck of the woods, he's the kind of mother frickers that come out and visit Appalachia and inexplicably end up climbing into an abandoned mine shaft and nobody finds them for 2 weeks. Hey, Eli, we got off on the wrong foot. You ever been snipe hunting before? No. Let me take you hunting. Don't worry. I'll bring the rifle.
Listen, it's a struggle at times. When in my head and my heart, I do everything I can to help my lady. I love her. I do everything for her every day, right?
Again, I firmly believe that this relationship that Dawn and Eli have is incredibly toxic. So I don't think it's at all just one-sided. I think Dawn exploits the crap out of Eli.
And then she has these moments because of how her family's treating her. And sometimes she, because she's frustrated, not at me, at them, because she's frustrated at them, if I make one little mistake, it triggers her more because she's already in a shitty mood because of her family, right? And then I pay the price for it. Now, I can understand her reacting. I get it. I'm not saying...
This is kind of what I'm talking about. What Eli's describing is, it sounds like he's on the receiving end of a lot of verbal abuse. Because Dawn's upset that her family is holding her hard and fast to if you want to be in our lives, you have to go to alcohol treatment. And she doesn't want to do that. But she wants her cake. What's the saying? She wants her slice and her cake too, or whatever. She still wants to have relations with her family. Understandably, but they're holding fast to this. No, you're not going to be in our lives while you're killing yourself with alcohol. And so she's turning around and she's blaming Eli as if there's something magical that Eli is going to be able to say to convince her family to suddenly ignore the fact that Dawn is an out-of-control raging alcoholic. And of course, there's nothing Eli can do because Eli would have to be an incredibly smooth operator, and he's simply not that. He's a moron. And so then he's on the receiving end of her abuse because in her mind it's Eli's fault that he doesn't just magically fix this thing between Dawn and her family. And again, it's like how on freaking earth would Eli be able to do that? He's an idiot. He can't even hold down a job.
Said about it, right? I understand it. My whole thing is, I'm just tired. I'm tired of BS like this. I'm not tired of my woman. I'll never be tired of my woman. I'm never going to hold something against my woman that is not her fault, that is out of her control.
See, like a lot of abuse victims,
But I will do whatever I can to soften the blow for her.
And I'm certain I'm going to get people commenting, going, how dare you imply that Eli is an abuse victim or he's in an abusive relationship, that it's not 100% he's the aggressor or whatever. It's a give and take. It's totally a give and take. And again, like my perspective is both these people are incredibly unhealthy. Both these people should not be involved with each other. And both of these people should be in pretty intensive inpatient treatment. I think I don't know if Eli needs inpatient treatment. Eli needs a job. I think that in itself would be more than enough to like really kind of get his shit together. He needs to get off the internet and have like normal human interactions. And then with Dawn needs to go into a long-term care facility at this point. I think her alcoholism is so severe that if she tried to go cold turkey, it would kill her.
And if these people won't talk to me, and they won't talk to her, whatever, then you know what? We'll just keep using them as content. Yeah, now I'm going to use you as content, ma'am, because I have the rights to do so. I can talk about whatever I want. That's called freedom of speech.
Eli, oh my goodness, this is so bad. Oh my, Eli, my brother, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. This family already fucking hates you. Here's what I would do, Eli, if I was dealing with you. If I was Dawn's son, here's what I would do. I would get the rest of the family together and go, look, this asshole ain't going to go away. There's no point in dealing with him. I say we pull in our money together, like $10,000 a piece. Let's sue him. And that's probably going to definitely happen when Dawn passes away on your mother's couch. I would not be surprised if Dawn's family hits you with a wrongful death suit. Are they going to win? No. But there's a chance that you're going to just not know how to file correctly a defense, and they'll just win a default judgment against you. Or if you do fight it, if it's $10,000 a piece, that's like $50,000 on the lawyers that they're going to put together. You're going to have to probably equal that. What I would do if I was Dawn's son is I would fuck with you in civil court so goddamn much just to make sure that as soon as your mother's dead, you couldn't spend a night in that goddamn house before it became the property of the bank. I would waste. Me personally, Eli, like in my current job with the money that I make, I would waste $100,000 without even a blinking an eye just to fuck with you. If you were messing with like my wife like this, or if you were messing with my son like this, if my son was an addict, and for somehow some kind of crazy way he's in a relationship with you, and we're trying to get him help, and you're just like, no, like I wouldn't use my fist, I wouldn't beat the shit out of you because I easily could, but that would just result in me going to jail and you being able to go online and act like a victim or some shit. No, I would just financially destroy you. And I got to imagine that Dawn's family are able to do this primarily because it seems like they're all employed. They all seem to have jobs, whereas you don't have a job. You have an allowance from your mother. So, like, I really recommend you don't fuck with these people. It would take them almost no effort to financially ruin you with a simple lawsuit because you were living on a razor thin. Your income is just non-existent, and your expenses are going to be really high, especially when that house goes into you and your brother's hands. You're half the house. You're going to have to pay half the taxes on it. And you ain't going to be able to do that. For you, $10,000 is like life-changing money. For someone like Dawn, somebody in Dawn's family, that's probably just like, okay, I'm just going to like not go out to eat for, a little bit. I really don't recommend using these people for content. You are baiting the bear, my friend.
And if you don't want to be a part of my real life stories and be embarrassed for your behavior, then stop fucking behaving this way.
Oh, he's so angry. He's
You
staring
put yourself
down
in this
that
position, not
selfie
me,
stick.
not your daughter. You put yourself in this position. You can change it.
Eli, first of all, if I was Dawn's
49
family,
years
I'd get a cease and
of
desist
trauma.
against him. I'd get a cease and desist
But I'll say this.
and tell him you
The
need to
last
stop mentioning us. Is that
35 years or
enforceable?
so,
Probably not, but it would still
because
fuck
until
with
she
him.
got to a certain age where she could really comprehend things, like in her teen years, the last 35 years or so have been one trauma after the other. Not her fault. Out of her control.
35 years of trauma. How is that possible? What is she, Liam Neeson's sister or something in the Taken movies?
And again,
Or is
before
his
you
wife?
people judge, before
Yes.
some of you judge out there, you don't know the full story. And you will never know the full story because there are things we just won't talk about. But again, if you knew those things, and you can try to figure out and assume what I'm talking about, we're never going to confirm anything. We won't even acknowledge you.
I'm
If you
sure
knew
Dawn
those things, then
loves
you would
us.
understand
If
why I
she
feel the
ever
way I feel
wakes up
and why Dawn feels the way
and
she feels.
sobers enough to watch one of his,
how traumatic all
watch
this
his
is.
stream, she's gonna be pissed.
And then you tell me not to talk about it? Go F yourselves. I'll talk about what I want to talk about.
I do what I
Because
want.
if I have to deal with all this crap, when I don't deserve to deal with this crap. Now, I'm not holding my woman accountable for it. But what my woman's going through, it really wears me down. It really does. Not because of her reactions, because of what her mother is putting her through. That triggers me. It triggers me. It really fucking
He's so
triggers me. It does.
triggered. He's
It
really
does.
triggered. He's
I've had a lot of relationships in my life. I've never,
triggered.
ever had any issues with any parents that I met through dating.
I'm gonna press X to
Look
doubt
at this.
him
Here's an interesting fact. My ex-girlfriend Dana used to live in Novato, and look at this company, Thompson Builders. It's from Novato, California.
Wow,
That
what
is
are the
interesting.
chances? A
This dude lives
company,
in the North
a
Bay. He must be
construction
making some good
firm
money because it is
in
massively
California,
more
it's
expensive
based
to
in
live
California.
in the North Bay, north of the Golden Gate Bridge, than here. Wow. And Novato's a nice area. That whole Marin County is a beautiful, beautiful area. Great hiking trails. Great people. Every second person there owns a damn Tesla, too. More than out here. I mean, we have enough Teslas out here, but
I don't understand why he hates Teslas. By the way, you see how that sky is so orangey color? That's the air pollution. That's not natural. A cloud shouldn't look like that. That's literally air pollution. California has some of the worst air quality in the world. Every time I have to go there to say the port of Long Beach or the port of LA to do work, I have to bring an inhaler. And I can't go running. I can't run outdoors because the air quality is just so ungodly bad. I don't understand how people live there. It's worse than Houston. It's terrible.
you know what I'm saying? Oh, the sun hasn't gone down yet. Tia says, that has to be so hard for Dawn and you. I feel those kids will regret treating their mom this way. I imagine there's more that maybe shouldn't be said publicly. I get why you're pissed. Oh, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to be said. Because here's the thing.
Eli, you shouldn't be talking about this. There is no way that Dawn has given you permission to talk about this. And this is certainly not a good idea to antagonize a family that already fucking hates you.
People have come at me. For talking, I can talk about whatever I want to talk about, right? People have come at me. People are saying, Dawn is messed up and, blah, 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 and this and that, right? No, Dawn is not messed up in the ways you think. Dawn
She's
and I are
messed
good.
up in different ways. New and exciting
Anyone
ways.
that would be going through the trauma that Dawn's going through from her family would be feeling at least the same way or worse. So don't sit here and tell
Trauma
me
from her family. What does that mean? Are you implying
that I
that
shouldn't
her
talk about this.
family
I'll talk about
was-
what I want to talk about. It's a great example.
Eli,
And I'm real time.
Eli, you were going into a very, very, very litigious area, my friend. If you start implying that Dawn was physically, mentally, emotionally, or sexually abused by her family, they are certainly going to sue the shit out of you, you dumb motherfucker. You really should not be talking like this.
I'm in real time. I'll share stories real time or in real time because that's the way people learn the best, right? It is your right to say how you feel, says Tia. I hope Dawn doesn't get upset. Well,
If she does,
that's
I'll
why
just give her
she
more
hasn't been doing the
booze.
shows lately because not because she doesn't want to, because
She's
she
been
doesn't have
too
the energy to
drunk.
do them. And it's because of emotional drain. It's just emotional drain. And so, it's like I'm at the point right now where I may even just reach out to her son. Maybe write him a letter or something and say, look.
That is an absolutely terrible idea. I say this, Eli, as a person, as a man that is has no contact with my mother. If somebody like you were to contact me, and if I could get my hands on you, I'd make it very abundantly clear that if you ever talk to me again, that I'd bring a lot of pain your way. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Look, dude, you're causing your mom severe health issues.
Oh,
And that's the woman that gave you birth. And listen, the fact that you keep saying that, you're just not ready to talk with her, and what the hell's your problem? Do you not have any respect for the woman that carried you in her stomach for 9 months?
I've had assholes do this to me. I've had assholes try to browbeat me that I'm supposed to involve my parents in my life. Both of my parents are unapologetic criminals, crackheads, alcoholics. They used to beat the shit out of me on a daily basis. And I've had idiots like Eli try to tell me that I need to have a relationship with them and like I need to expose my kid to these people. And it's like, it's not your business. Don't bring this up again. If you bring it up again, it's going to get ugly, kind of thing. Eli, dude, I don't know why you're doing this, man.
I mean, what kind of a human being treats their mother like that? Like, Dawn is not a bad person. Has she made some mistakes? We all have. But it's like these fucking people in her family, her mother, her daughter, and her son, they're treating her like she's like she's committed capital murder or something. Like,
No, they're treating her like somebody who's in severe addiction, and they basically said, we care and love for you, and we want you to get help and treatment. And if you don't get help and treatment, we are not going to be a part of your life and watch you as you slowly kill yourself. That is completely different than treating her like somebody that has committed a murder. You petulant child, you.
honestly, well, what the hell, man?
Honestly.
It really
Honestly,
pisses me off.
what the hell?
Like, I swear to God, people that commit capital murder get treated better than Dawn does. This is bullshit, man. All these people need to get over themselves, for Christ's
I
sake.
wonder what the swear word he's saying. It's probably bullshit. He usually uses
And Dawn's
the
mom
term
can clear this
bullshit.
up. But she doesn't want to clear it up because in order for Dawn's mom to clear it up, she'd have to own up to shit that would make her look bad and make Dawn look good. All right? And she doesn't want to do that, right? Because you gave birth to that girl. You gave birth to that girl, but you don't want to go back for her because you're more concerned about your reputation over your mistakes. Your reputation is shit because you can't admit your mistakes like most people do.
Again, Eli, what you're saying here could get you fucking sued. Like you could. You're basically implying that Dawn's mother is someone of severe ill repute and is essentially from afar abusing Dawn. And again, this is all because her family is trying to get her to go into alcohol treatment. Like, now, your defense would be, and I'll give you free legal advice. You get what you pay for. Your defense will be, this is what you have to say in court. Your Honor, I'm such a fucking moron that nobody with a pulse could possibly take what I say with any value. Which you would have a chance, I think, if you somehow were to submit like a couple of your live streams. I think it would become very apparent that you're a shithead.
And my level of respect? And is that going to hurt Dawn? Because Dawn loves her mom, right? I will do whatever it takes to make Dawn happy, including sitting there and getting beat up by her mother verbally, verbal abuse from her mother, right? I'll sit there and take punches literally from Dawn's mother just to make Dawn happy because Dawn deserves happiness. Dawn.
Are you implying that Dawn's mother is physically abusing you, Eli? I really wouldn't make that claim. You just said you literally receive punches from this woman. I don't know if you realize what the term literally means.
Dawn doesn't deserve anything she's been through. I will take the punches from her mother, and I'll protect even Dawn from her own mother. There, you heard it. That's the truth of the matter.
This is so wild.
And anyone
He's
thinks I'm
upset
nuts,
about-
I don't give a shit. Because Dawn has close friends I've met in person and have talked to by phone, they know the whole story. They know everything, even the stuff we haven't mentioned. They know everything.
Her booze hounds
agree.
all
They do the
agree
same
that
way.
her parents are mean. This is wild.
And do you folks not think that this has affected Dawn's past relationships? All the stuff that happened, including Dawn losing her nursing license, what was happening with her family, affected her emotions, affected
Are
the
you
man she was
implying
with.
that her
That probably wasn't the
family
most stable man
cost
initially
her
because this dude had 4
her-
DUIs anyway himself, right? You take an
Jeez,
already
dude.
unstable man, and then you put him in a relationship with a woman that's being abused by her family, emotionally and verbally. She seeks help from a guy that's already not in the best state emotionally, and then it gets violent. I mean, look at what this whole thing has cost. You folks don't understand. You folks don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. And I'm speaking out because I'm tired. I'm tired of people getting in the way.
You're going to libel every single person you can
We're
think
treating
of.
their own family like garbage. And then making excuses. Making excuses
Sorry, I'm doing something.
for the reasons why, like Dawn's mom makes excuses for the reasons why her kids don't talk to her. You're making excuses, ma'am, to cover your shit up. And I'm tired of that. And you're mad at me because you know I know the truth. And you're afraid I'm going to expose the truth, right? And I'm not going to do that because I'm not that kind of person. I love your daughter and I love your family. But you got to fix this. You got to fix this with Dawn.
That sounds like a threat, Eli. Legally, that sounds like you're almost an extortion threat. Again, I don't know why you're going out of your way to antagonize a family that already fucking hates you. For them, escalating this in no way, shape, or form affects them. What are you going to do? Cut off Dawn from them even further? They're the ones that have cut Dawn off because she's an alcoholic that needs to go into treatment. Again, if I was their son, I would just be effing with Eli nonstop. Like I'd be filing cease and desist letters. I would basically get a lawyer and retainer, just be like, look, I just want to know what you can do. I got 10 grand together. How much fuckery can you do to this guy with 10 grand? And we'll see how far that goes, and I'll bring him new money if we make some progress here. Like, because Eli doesn't have 10 grand to fight back. Eli doesn't have any money to fight back with.
And with her daughter and with her son. You can fix this. You got to fix this. You got to fix this. Because I'm tired of it. I was going to back off, but now it's like, you know what? It's affecting me every single day. It's affecting the woman I love every single day.
Affecting Eli.
And that's why I've been overwhelmed.
He's overrun.
Part of the reason I've been overwhelmed is because
Overwhelmed.
of the situation that Dawn's dealing with regarding her family, with the emotions. This is not an alcohol issue. This is emotional abuse,
Not alcohol issue.
right? This is emotional torment.
Emotional torment. I wonder what's
Heck,
driving this.
having a
Maybe
beer or two or
Dawn's
so every
like,
now and then,
no more
it's not gonna
making
make you
sex
feel like
with me
this.
while I'm passed out unless you get me contact with
But,
my
when your
daughter
family
again or something.
is not talking with you, including your mother, and blaming you for everything and never owning up to their actions, how do you expect someone like Dawn to feel? I'd feel probably worse than her if I was in her shoes. You got to put yourself in her shoes. You got to put yourself in other people's shoes.
You would feel
right?
worse than
That's
Dawn.
what I wish her mother
So
would do
you're
is put
implying that Dawn
herself
doesn't
in her daughter's
feel
shoes, but she's not
bad
doing it.
enough?
And that
Is that
makes me
what
even
you're
more
trying
mad.
to say?
Maybe not mad. I'm disappointed. Let's use a better word. Let's be more mature,
More
right? Let's be a little more mature about this and say, I'm very disappointed.
I'm very
Being mad,
disappointed in you,
that's not gonna resolve
Dawn's
shit. It's gonna
family,
instead of pour more fuel on the fire.
for
Being
trying to get
disappointed?
her into drug
Yeah,
alcohol
that's for damn
treatment.
sure. I'm disappointed. Very disappointed.
Very disappointed.
Thank you again, Odin, for your $10 super chat. It's very overwhelming. And it's not
That
just the
$10
Dawn
super
situation.
chat was
Like,
very
I'm rebranding
overwhelming.
my coaching business to integrate it more with my overall business, the GNA. That rebrand, honestly alone, can suck up an entire workday like that. So I'm working on this major rebrand.
Major rebrand.
And if you think my rebrand sucks because you've trolled me in the past, go fuck yourself, like I've been
You
saying.
thought New
Okay?
Coke was a big deal?
I don't care.
Nope.
I love what I'm doing, and the right people love what I'm doing too. But
Major rebrand.
let me let these people walk on by. Give me a second.
Sorry, I'm
Give me
making
a second
noise here. I'm cooking something for the family.
Tia says, I get how you feel. My husband's kids stopped talking to him for no reason. I saw the hurt he went through. That hurt he felt turned to anger. He was just done with them. So let me ask you something, Tia. So were these kids from a previous marriage? These weren't your kids, right? If it's not too personal. And before your husband passed away, was he ever able to rekindle the relationship with his kids? Or did he go to the grave with that same thing? No disrespect intended.
Sorry, I gotta wash my hands real quick.
It's actually a very beautiful night at Red Mountain Park.
I was handling some raw food. I gotta wash my hands.
I guess like
Sorry.
the moon is bright
I
tonight,
know
so
you
it's
can
not
hear
even really
this.
that dark.
I can't hear it, but I know
surprised.
you can hear it. It's probably
I'm not gonna
very
do a third
loud
lap.
and obnoxious.
I've done so much work around the house. I've done so much exercise lately, so 2 laps, which is 2.5 miles, that'll be good for today.
2.5 miles, huh?
So, I'm just kind of curious if Tia, she's probably typing down on her phone. It takes longer to type on the phone. That's why when I'm typically watching streams, at times I'll sit on my laptop because I have the bigger keyboard. It's easier to type. Typing on these iPhones and Androids like Samsung Galaxies, etc. It's easy. It's a little easier. Not because the phones have gotten bigger, but still they're not as big as a regular keyboard. Tia says yes. Previous, nope. He never reconciled. His ex was a bitch that came to the funeral. I had her escorted out. Wow. So his own kids disowned him probably because of his ex, right? And he's probably the nicest guy in the world.
Eli, you're an idiot. Oh my God, I'm running these people all the fucking time. And I'm talking like veterans and shit. They try to say that the reason why they don't have a relationship with your kids is because of their bitchy ex and stuff like that. And I always end up having to do bring them back down to earth because I'm trying to help them get their lives together. It's like, no, the reason why you don't have a relationship with your kids is you're about 10 grand in debt and child support, and you've never once fucking seen them since in the last 5 fucking years. That's why you don't have a relationship with your kids. You can't say that your ex is the reason why your kids call you a deadbeat when you're actively being a fucking deadbeat. And I've had people, again, bringing up my own background, I've had people say to me that they cannot believe that I'm in no contact with my parents. 30 years later, I'm still in no contact with them. And he says, well, you don't know what I went through. Well, what you go through? I am not about to relive that. It's like, no, motherfricker. I'm not about to open up with you. Well, of 20 years of physical, mental, and emotional pain at the break room. Mind your damn business. It's a similar thing here. This Tia woman probably has no fucking idea what the fuck she's talking about. I guarantee you, her ex's or her husband's kids didn't have anything to do with her. And this whole, it's the ex's fault or whatever. For all you know, he was sexually abusing them kids.
You see, the same thing I believe happened to Dawn with her ex, right? Dawn is the nicest person in the world. She has the biggest heart and soul in the world. If she didn't, she'd be out my door. She wouldn't be living with me.
No, I'd kick her out.
I would be fighting for her. I'm fighting for Dawn because I know who she really is. I know the kind of person she is. And I know that she's the victim. She is honestly the victim here. Just like your husband was the victim of the ex-wife that probably turned the kids against him. And it just tore up your husband's heart.
Mm. Poor husband.
It's one thing for two people to not work in a marriage, right, or relationship. But if you have kids, you're sharing custody of your kids, right? And then as they get older, there's no more custody because they're adults, right? I just think that, if kids disown a good parent, right?
Why is he walking in between cars in a parking lot? I just noticed that. That is so bizarre. I'm just imagining if I was in this park, I just watch this guy who's got a selfie stick waddling around in between parked cars. I naturally think that he was somehow scoping out the cars to break into them.
Then someone else got in the way and manipulated them and led them to believe something that's not true to turn their kids against them, right? It's the same kind of stuff that people have tried to do to me out here on... It's a little pug barking at me, man. GTFOH, man. Here's the volleyball court. Let me show you that. We still have some good enough light here. It's amazing. The low light compensation is working really well. By the time I get back to the lot, it'll definitely be.
That is I can't believe that's a volleyball court. It literally looks like a hammock on its side.
they have, look here. You see this? This is a string for the bounds. You know, the boundaries, the bounds. Out of bounds. That's very dangerous with string there. They should use like spray paint or something else. A string there, you could trip over it very easily.
Dangerous?
No matter how tight it is or how...
Oh my lord.
String is not the right thing to use there. But I think those guys, they're Hispanic guys, I think they Jimmy rigged that.
They're Hispanic guys. I think they Jimmy rigged that. Did he say Jimmy rig or did he say Jerry rig? I have a hard time believing that YouTube's auto text-to-speech is that far off to where it would confuse Jimmy with Jerry. Although he's been saying Don the entire time instead of Dawn, so I'm not exactly sure. That's the thing I love about Eli. He likes to LARP that he's like this really woke liberal motherfucker, and in reality, he's probably one of the most misogynistic and racist motherfuckers that I follow on YouTube. Like I generally get really burned out by like people that are like overtly anti-Hispanic or overtly anti-women and shit. It just gets really old really quickly because there's a lot of content creators that is their whole shtick. Is just saying off the wall, horrible shit. Whereas Eli just, it's amazing to me. He'll just overtly just drop something remarkably sexist or remarkably homophobic or remarkably racist, and he won't even realize it. Meanwhile, he's like, well, I'm a good liberal. I voted for Joe Biden or some shit. God damn it. It's so funny to me.
It's just not safe, but hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I've got other things to worry about.
He's got other things. He's a busy man.
Tia says, yes, the ex did some horrible things. He hated no one her. I think he just had enough. He loved them, but couldn't let it affect his life. Well, Don's going through the same thing. So I guess, we can relate to that, huh, Tia? Because even though they're not your kids, you dealt with it because you were married to him for a while. And so we can relate to the situation there, right? Your partner, just like my partner, went through the same situation when he was around. God rest his soul and God bless him, right?
Again, Eli, you have no idea what he did to those kids.
And
you have no idea why those kids cut him off.
It just sucks because I was going to say a second ago, that's what these people have done to me on here on YouTube. They've tried to paint me as this horrible person. They've tried to paint me as a disabled hater. I don't hate anyone, let alone disabled people. Do I not like certain things anyone does? Yeah. And does that mean disabled people are immune from making mistakes? No.
Huh?
Right?
What is this from?
But so many people out here, even for just for content, for lolcow shits and giggles content, they tried to paint me as this really bad person to keep people away from my channel, to keep me from growing, so that way they can keep making fun of me and making money at my expense, right? It's a similar concept. Like, people that do this kind of shit are just miserable fucking people, Tia. I bet his ex-wife was a miserable fucking clown, okay?
Miserable fucking clown.
And in all honesty, here's the thing. I hate to say this. And look, I don't hate Don's mom or anything, but look, I think the reason why Don's mom is acting the way she is... Hang on, let me let these people with the dogs walk by.
I love how he is the biggest friggin' puss in public. He's going to talk to Don's son. He's going to talk to Don's son. He's going to contact him via letter or some shit. He's the biggest goddamn puss. I guarantee you, if that guy showed up at Eli's house, be like, hey, motherfucker, don't you ever contact me again. Eli would urinate himself. Just pissed out on his own goddamn leg. Look at him. He looks like he's terrified. There's people around me. Oh,
I think Don's mom is miserable in some capacity. I think Don's mom is holding a grudge against Don.
For what?
Over
so
something.
It's a grudge. Okay.
That's what I think it is. And that something is something her mother doesn't want to own up to. Because
I think it makes more sense that this is just an intervention that you're intentionally sabotaging because you're an idiot.
She doesn't want to look bad. So, and, I think her mother is in fears that we're going to talk. And no, we're not going to go that far. Some
Oh,
things are meant
not.
to remain personal. But that's what her mother fears. Her mother fears getting exposed, something being exposed that could tarnish her family's name, right?
Is that the
And
case?
so you hold it against your daughter. I'm not going to go any further into this, but it all ties in together. I'm not going to go any further, but the bottom line is, it's like her mother knows I've figured this whole thing out, and her mother's pissed at me because her mother's afraid I'm going to just vomit everything. And here's the thing.
Oh yeah,
I'll
I
tell you
think
this.
your mother,
I could blow this shit
her
wide
mother
open
is really afraid
and
of
probably
you not
triple the growth of my
shutting
channel
up.
and probably get more eyes on me and this and that, right? But what would that cost me? Probably cost me my relationship with Dawn. I don't want to do that.
It would also probably cost you a very pricey lawsuit.
I don't want to do that even to Dawn's mother. I want to show Dawn's mother I'm a better person and I can keep my mouth shut. But what I'm saying is, internally within the family, ma'am, you need to clear your daughter's name. You need to clear your daughter's name.
What on earth could Dawn's mother possibly say or do that would convince the rest of the family that Dawn is not killing herself with alcohol? Like Eli, what could she possibly say? You nutter.
Because your daughter does not deserve what she's going through.
Your daughter doesn't deserve sobriety. Your daughter doesn't deserve a chance to wake up not hungover. Your daughter doesn't deserve a chance to have a relationship with her kids that doesn't involve being buzzed off her ass. Okay. Sure, Eli. You're doing the right thing, keeping her boozed up.
And here's the thing. You know, when Dawn was having, I'm going to say this, I don't care, it doesn't matter.
No, I don't care.
When Dawn was having a seizure
Uh-huh.
at Dawn's parents' place, Dawn's mom was so freaked out
Yeah, well,
because I called them over
That's
when Dawn was having a
crazy.
seizure. And her mom and
Who
her dad
would've
ran
thought?
over. And Dawn's mom thought that she had lost her daughter. She thought her daughter died.
And thank God you were there to live stream it.
Let me tell you something, ma'am. This is something that
Ooh.
I'll probably even send her. You know what? I'll probably just send her mother a link to this video. I don't give a shit. I'll send her a link.
Oh,
to it. I don't
yeah.
care.
That's a
I want her
great
to see
idea,
this. I do. I really
dumbass.
do want her to see this. I'll just send it myself. I don't care.
Yeah, do it.
Here's the thing,
No
man. You're worried about
balls.
your daughter dying over a seizure, right? No, that's a valid concern, ma'am. But you should be more concerned
What she should be
over
more
what you're
concerned
putting
about.
your daughter through emotionally regarding that situation. I don't even want to say it. You're the
What?
one that's pushing her over the edge with all this. But at the same
Oh,
time,
Lord.
you're freaking out that you thought your daughter had passed away when that seizure happened, right? But where are you now? Where are you now to deal with what I'm dealing with, right? And I deal with it because I love Dawn, and I want to make this right, and I want to make things right with you, right? So this has been overwhelming to me, along with the GNA rebrand, along with I had to take the dogs in to get their rabies shot the other day, one at a time. Then these dogs are not the most, they're very domesticated, like many dogs are. So, we take them out, but not as often as we should. We take them out. When we take them out, they're like excited and they piss and shit everywhere. That's what they do.
I don't even like dogs. I'm really, really allergic to dogs. It's absolutely fucking amazing to me that this guy will do things that any adult should be able to just do, and he wants kudos for it, and then half the time he just fucks it up. Like, he's just basically saying that these dogs of Dawn's just shit and piss everywhere because they don't take them out often enough. You're unemployed! There is literally zero excuse, you lazy man-child, for these dogs to be shitting and pissing in your mother's house. You don't have anything to do all day. What do you do?
I'll get to the chat here in a second.
Yes, the chat that has been just lighting it up here. We've gotten... Look at all them chats. And
Accept or tolerates this data. Let me read some past messages here.
50 minutes. Over 50 minutes. He's got about... Oh, if you take
Thank
out
you, welcome to
the
the show. I'm sure it
thoughts,
hurt
maybe...
Your husband, Tia, he let it go. Like you
messages.
said, he was done. He had to for the peace of his mind, and he had you, Tia. Yeah, but here's the thing, Sandra, no disrespect. There's a difference between men and women. We process our emotions differently. Now, I'm not saying that Dawn is
There-
incapable of working through this. She is, and that's
No disrespect. Here comes just blatant sexism, like dumbassery.
why, she's got her therapist and all of that. This is not her fault. But it is much more difficult for women to work through something like this than a man. Listen, it still hurts a man. Like, look, I've been in emotional pain many times in my life. I've been through depression, right? I've gotten sick over shit like this. Not as bad, but pretty close. But I worked through it. because I looked at myself in the mirror and said, you know what, I'm a man. I got to go on. I can't let this affect me.
Oh my God, he's such a penis. Dear Lord. Oh my Lord. Real talk. I do have to I do have to do this on a personal side. If you're a man and if you're struggling with stress, depression, and so on, please seek out resources in your area. You're not lesser of a man by going and seeking help. I've lost way too many colleagues from the military and way too many veterans that I didn't know until they were veterans to suicide, primarily because of the bullshit stigma that idiots like Eli have that if you're a man, you are supposed to just suck it up. Eli is a moron. I don't think Eli has ever really been depressed. I think the concept of depression, the idea of depression, is too complex for Eli to understand, let alone experience. Like it's beyond his capability of comprehending. So like when he stubs his toe, it's likely that he thinks that he's just made his toenail depressed. He's an idiot. If you're struggling, you're not less of a man. Get help.
You know,
I I'm not gonna lie. I got blown up by an IED. Struggled with alcoholism. You know, you don't think I've needed to see a psychiatrist and a therapist? I go to talk therapy once a fucking month still.
it's out of my control. If it's out of my control, why let it get to me?
That's why I've never sucked off my shotgun. And that's also why I have a marriage with a lovely woman and I have a son that I'm involved in his life completely. Why? Because I do the monthly talk therapy to keep the demons at bay.
Even if it's regarding family. But it is much harder, in my opinion, for women to work through stuff like this because of the way women process their emotions differently than men. And listen, I'm not saying that men can't get emotional than you do, and sometimes we're more emotional than you, but the men that are more emotional than women all the time are beta males. They're not acting like real men.
Oh my Lord. I got to imagine that a lot of people out there that are like, so like, Mike, if you had the opportunity to where Eli said that to your face, you know, you're like twice his size. And like you'll openly talk about crying in a therapist's office and shit. Like, what would you like smack the crap out of Eli? Like, no, I'd laugh at him. I would just laugh at him. I wouldn't put my hands on him. Yeah, he's a stunted man child. He's like completely fucking stunted.
They're acting like beta female dogs. Let's call them that. For
again, got to bring up the
misogyny
on
while
YouTube,
you're
right?
at it. They're the beta bitches, right? Right.
Right.
We're at 56 minutes. We're going off the air in about 4 or 5 minutes, folks. Get your vital questions, comments, or concerns in the chat.
Press 1 in the chat if I haven't blocked you yet.
Tia says, Sandra, you're correct. We had a good life, and he wasn't going to let it affect our life. Those kids had a great upbringing. He was active in their life. Why would those kids do that to him and not even reconcile before he passes away? Like, honestly,
Eli put two and two together.
Here's the thing.
Put two and
No
two together,
disrespect
Eli.
intended to his kids. I know I know they're like family to you, right? But honestly, are these actually good kids for treating their father that way? Any grown-ass mature adult, I can understand even young adults. Like right now, Don's daughter is 29 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand her behaving this way at 29 still, but when she hits 35 or 40, if she's still behaving this way, there's no excuse.
I love how the fact that Eli still sees like a 29-year-old woman who has a job, who has a kid, I think she's married, is like somehow like an immature child. Eli, not everyone is as stunted as you. Most of us get out of our teenage years in our teenage years. We're not like in our 50s still living at home in our race car bed.
By the time you get to your mid to late 30s, early 40s, you're a full-blown adult. Like, you know, it's like you've had enough experience to understand stuff and to understand how putting yourself, or, you know, how you being in a similar situation would affect you if you were on the flip side of the receiving end of what you're giving, right? You always got to put yourself on the receiving end of what you're giving and see how it would make you feel, right?
The goal is for her to go into alcohol treatment, you moron. I've been on the receiving end of it. It's the entire reason why I'm alive today and why my son exists. Actually, that's not true. When I To be fair, I should say my wife was pregnant with my son when I went into rehab, so my son was already conceived. He wasn't born yet.
Santa Claus
There's
says
not
everyone
that
has
much
their own sense of
chat for you to
control.
have to flip
Here,
through.
one
It's
cannot
literally
make
only been 4 people.
one do something they do not want nor are ready to do, be it right or wrong. One must accept their choices. Accept or tolerate, says Sandra. Sandra says, as I know it, the whole situation is jacked up. Are you talking about the Don situation, Sandra? I know, easier said than done. Well, Santa Palacio says, well, shit, look at these people you deal with on YouTube. They don't act like adults. Yeah, but they're not family, Sandra. Here's the thing, Sandra. People that
They're
aren't
not
family
family.
or aren't close friends, I can care less about if they're treating me like shit. If people are treating me nice, I'll treat them the same way, right? If they're treating me like shit, I won't necessarily treat them like shit in return. I'll just ignore them and move on because there's no emotional attachment, Sandra. You understand? With family, especially someone that comes out of a woman's hoo-ha, like Don's daughter coming out of Don's hoo-ha, Don almost bled out.
Don's
Lost a lot of blood
hoa.
giving birth to that girl.
Don's Hoa.
That's a serious emotion.
I'm totally confused. What does Dawn's Homeowners Association has anything to do? I'm at a loss. This is somebody's gonna have to explain this shit to me in chat. I am so at a loss.
Emotional attachment. No emotional attachment, Sandra. You understand? With family, especially someone that comes out of a woman's hoo-ha, like Don's daughter coming out of Don's hoo-ha, Don almost bled out. Lost a lot of blood giving birth to that girl.
Homeowners Association. Don almost.
That's a serious
bled out.
emotional attachment. There's
Hold
no
on,
kind
I'm
of blood,
gonna try to look
Sandra.
at
You
his
understand?
lips.
With family, especially someone that comes out of a woman's hoo-ha, like
I'm assuming he's saying hooah.
Don's daughter coming out of Don's hoo-ha, Don almost bled
It looks like he's saying hooah. I have no idea what he's trying to say.
out. Lost a lot of blood giving birth to that girl. That's a serious emotional
I don't know.
attachment. There's no comparison between that and the people on
I'm
YouTube,
guessing
right?
they didn't
My
have
point
sex ed
is
back
actions
in
as an
the-
adult.
in the
I understand
90s.
that. Actions as an adult, I'll give you that. Yes, I agree with you. The actions are not adult-like, right? But it is much easier to walk away from these morons on YouTube, these miserable clowns on YouTube, than it would be to
Miserable
walk away from
clowns.
one of your own kids. Because your kids they've been fed a bunch of BS from
Bunch of
other
BS.
people in the family, in this case, Don's mom.
Don's
And maybe,
mom.
Don's ex-husband, their father. Don's ex-husband, their father, a cop, manipulator. Sounds like to me that your husband's ex-wife, Tia, was
ACAB, right?
just
Eli?
like Don's ex-husband and Don's mother, pretty much.
Okay. I'm hoping my smoke detector doesn't
he
go
was a
off.
victim of
I'm
circumstance.
smoking some fish.
And
a
he didn't
little
want to play the
bit in
victim.
oven.
Most guys don't want to play the role of the victim. We don't. I know, I don't.
I have a feeling
But does that
that
mean we're never
I
a
need to
victim?
clean
No.
my
A lot of
oven
times we are
sooner
victims,
rather than
even though
later.
we don't want to call ourselves a victim because of the stereotype, right? The stigma, especially online. Ooh, Eli's playing the role of the victim mentality to stir up drama views because his channel's dying without the drama. Go fuck yourself, okay? Seriously, go after yourself.
Go after. Okay.
How I handle these situations.
This is getting harder and harder because I can't see his lips, so I'm really kind of dependent completely on his on the autocorrection or the text to speak, and it's
You just got to keep
clearly
walking,
not
keep
able to keep up
Go out and
with
take a
Eli.
walk like I do. The simple answer, how I handle it, right? I come out, take a walk. I share my stories with people as part of what I do here for my business, the GNA, right?
Is it really a business when you don't make any money?
And you got to talk about it with friends. In this case, I also talk about it with Dawn. Not all the time when she's open to it because I don't want to make her feel any worse, even though I'm not the one causing her problems. If I try to talk about it with her when she's not ready to talk about it, that's going to make matters worse. And see, guys, that's one thing you have to learn about women. You got to let them come to you. Like if you want to talk with them about something and they're not ready to talk about it, you got to say, okay, we need to talk about it at some point.
Yeah, you got to
but,
talk to the broads,
I'm
bro.
going to go take care of some stuff, and you let me know, babe, when you're ready to talk about it. But at some point, we got to talk about it, right?
Because women, they've been
And that's that,
leaking
right?
once a month.
Give them space,
and
give
they
them time
get
and
all
space, and then let them come to
crazy.
you.
You just
right?
got to give them their
And that's what happens with
40,
Dawn. Now, don't get me
they're
wrong, I have my
ready to
moments
go.
too, and sometimes,
Put out.
I never get angry or mad. I'm not a violent
I
guy
don't
at
know
all,
where
but
that
sometimes I'll
voice
snap
came
and I'll
from.
overreact for a second, and then I'll just say, okay, it's just not worth it, right? Take a deep breath, Eli. Take a deep breath.
He does kind
This
of
is
look
not her
like
fault. It's not your fault.
like a really
You're both a victim of
annoying
circumstance. And
character from the
we've got to find a way to
Sopranos
balance it
that
out. We've
just
got to
got
find a way
placed
to either, hey,
in an
get through to the
episode without
family,
any
which
really
the easiest way to
background or
fix this would be
anything.
you know,
'Cause
get
like,
Don's
yo,
mom to just fix the whole thing and bring the whole family back together. That'd be the
Pepsi,
nicest
he
thing to do.
got
That'd be the mature
shot.
thing to do, right? That'd be the family-oriented type of thing to do. But if that's not going to happen,
He was talking too
I'm
much
trying to find
about the
ways to help
family
Dawn just move past
business.
this. And she just can't move past it. Because here's the thing. She's that loyal to family. Can you blame someone for being that loyal to family?
I think she's loyal to alcohol. On that note, I'm just going to call it because this is just going to keep going for another time. And I'm really struggling to understand what he's saying. And I don't want to sit here. My food that I'm cooking for the family is getting to the point where I'm going to have to get a lot more hands-on. So I hope you're all doing a lot better than I am health-wise. Take care of each other, check on family and all. Ciao.